Today I'm going to show you how to play against the Caro opening as white. When playing e4 at beginner stage, you're probably going to be playing something like the Italian game or the Scotch, or maybe even something like the Spanish. But when black plays c6, you know it's going to transpire into a Caro game. And if you're not sure how to play against this as white, it can be quite tricky to maintain an advantage in the opening. Today I'm just going to be going over a couple of variations, what white can play against the Caro defense. This is just for beginners, so if you already know these openings in depth, you're not going to get much value out of this video. So Caro starts when white plays e4, black plays c6. Then in this position, white knows black's going to play d5, so they play d4 to gain a big centre. Black plays d5, and then now this is the Caro opening. And there's multiple things you can go here, such as going to the exchange variation, simply just developing your knight, or even just pushing the pawn. A lot of the times here, the most popular move is to push the pawn to e5, just getting some more space with white, and stopping this knight developing to f6. In this position here, common moves are playing c5 with black to undermine this pawn, or playing f5 with this bishop here. In the Caro black likes to develop this bishop early so they can play e6 without the light squared bishop being trapped behind this pawn. In a few variations, black even plays d7 with this knight to push the pawn break on c5. For white in this position, knight f3 is a natural move, just to develop the knight to support white's centre. Then black will most likely play e6. Now there's lots of variations here, but the one I'm going to show you specifically is the short variation, where white plays the quiet move e2 with the bishop, getting prepared to castle short. If black then pushes the c5 pawn, white can simply develop their dark squared bishop to e3, protecting the centre and developing the piece. Here, the common moves for black are to play knight c6, putting pressure on the centre, or even developing the queen to b6. Even though this looks scary for white as the black queen is attacking the pawn, the best move is just to develop the knight and ignore it if black's queen takes the pawn. If black's queen takes the pawn, white can simply move their queen across and go to b1. Now in this position, you're offering a queen trade, and black can also take this knight here. But if black trades queens, then this is actually a good position for white with a lot of piece activity, a leading development. The c5 pawn is being attacked twice, along with the b7 pawn being attacked by the rook. If black makes the move b6 with the pawn, supporting the centre, then white still enjoys comfortable play here, as white can jump in with the knight and then castle short, and then double the rooks on this b file, along with pushing the a pawn. Black still needs to play a few moves before they can even castle and get their king to safety, so white enjoys this position quite comfortably. If black falls for the trap and then plays queen takes knight, white can play the move bishop d2, attacking the queen, and the only escaping square for the queen is to go a3. Now in this position, white's completely winning, because white can play b7 and win the rook. Once you're in a position like this where you've got both your bishops developed and you're ready to castle short, white's actually pretty comfortable anyway. After bishop f5, white can also play the move h4, which looks like a mistake but is actually a really good move and very aggressive for white. The whole idea is if white plays e6, white can actually win the bishop by playing g4 and trap the bishop. In this position here, white also has two common moves they might play, such as playing h6 to give black an escape square. And in this position here, white can still play g4 to attack the bishop and gain space. And once black moves back, I actually suggest white push this e-pawn up the board. Now this looks very strange as black can obviously win a pawn, but this is very uncomfortable for black's position, because after bishop f3, if there's a trade of bishops here, white has a much better position on the board. White can obviously check the black king, but also these pawns are very aggressive on the king side of the board. And after developing this knight, as a beginner, white can easily win this position by just putting a lot of pressure on the king side. If black makes a normal move such as knight f6, white can deliver a check, and then once black goes d7, the engine actually says white's up 2 points here, just because of how good their position is. White develops the knight to f3, getting ready to give another check. But also these pawns are so close to running up the board. Let's say black retreats with the king, and white jumps in with this knight here. This is causing all kind of problems for black, as there's a fork being threatened. Also eventually you probably want to push g5 and open up the h file for the rook, but white's completely winning here. Another move black might make is going h5, copying the pawn structure. In this position, white can either play bishop d3, offering a trade of the bishops, looking to develop the queen, or even play the move pawn c4, attacking the centre. When playing h5, this makes the g5 square very vulnerable for black, as long term, white wants to put their bishop on g5. Also in this position, it's a good idea to develop this knight by going e2 and g3, attacking both the bishop and the pawn. But playing h4 in the Caro for white is a very good and aggressive opening position that I think as a beginner you should be playing, because black probably won't be expecting this. They'll be expecting normal development, and it can put a lot of pressure on black early in the game. And if black doesn't know what they're doing, you could gain a big advantage. Obviously with the Caro Khan, another variation is the exchange, where both the pawns get exchanged on d5. Here for white, I recommend going d3 with the bishop, and the whole point of this is you want to control these squares so black has trouble developing their bishop without it being captured. Here black will go c6 attacking the pawn, but you can simply make the quiet move c3 defending the centre. And if black then develops their knight to f6, you can develop your bishop to f4. Now this might look strange, developing both the bishops before the knight. This is a very comfortable position for white to play. And here, black will most likely want to develop their light squared bishop, so they'll play bishop g4 attacking the queen, as now the bishop's supported by the knight. And here, white can play the very dangerous move b3. Now this is completely fine for black, but it does add a lot of pressure to both the d5 pawn and the b7 pawn. The best move here for black is to actually play knight a5, which beginners might not spot, but white can simply deliver a check on a4, and black needs to be very careful here, as if they defend with the queen, they're going to lose the knight, or if they block the check with the knight, white still enjoys flexibility in this position, and can just carry on developing their knights to d2 and g3. In all these three variations of the Caro Khan opening, white's not necessarily winning, but white enjoys comfortable positions where they can play without any tricks on black's behalf. Personally, I like going h4. I hope you've learned something from this video, and thank you for watching.